The dream. Okay, so I was somewhere. There was like a beautiful terrace plaza, and there were women in hijabs. They were, I hope that's the name of it. I don't mean to be offensive. I tried wearing one years ago when I was trying to be with the Nation of Islam, and then my sensei was also connected with another mosque, which I think they call them Sunni Muslims, and I don't mean to be offensive in any way. So we went to Ramadan on, there's a mosque on Sly, and I had a hard time being in that covering. It was polyester. Polyester doesn't breathe. I was really uncomfortable, and I didn't like it at all. Now, so these women were dressed in that Islamic attire, and they were exercising out on the lawn. Wherever it was, it reminded me of Amateur Works. It was out by, like, I didn't see a body of water. I just feel like there was a body of water near. And it was really pretty skies. And all of a sudden, somebody started yelling, and I started yelling, a storm is coming, a storm is coming, something like that. And so everybody just started running. And then I ended up in a parking lot, and I saw Reverend Lonnie Gray. He was walking towards me. He's very charismatic, one of those master manipulator types. And he was coming my way, and I could tell he was probably going to say, "Hey, how you doing?" And I was like, I am not going to get drawn in by this energy. And so I started shaking my head no. And then he respected my boundaries. Okay, so I ended up being, did I go to the store to get the chips before? So did Peach McIntyre come next? Okay, so I walked past a trash can and recycling can, or was it one of those receptacles where they donate clothes? I think it was one of those large containers where they donate clothes, and I opened it and looked at it. And Love Pearl Hawkins, tarot reader, was in there sleeping. And I said, "Hey, girl." And she got up and we started talking. I said, "You should go over to the projects because," okay, so I had just walked past the projects, and Peach McIntyre, she was moving out. Her and it didn't look like her husband would. I don't know who else was with her, and some children. And the young man, he had dropped some things as he was walking, and he picked it up, and I was like, thumbs up. I was like, that's really awesome. So I was in the projects. I had to be Robles Park projects. And I put my thumb up, and he said, "Yeah, that's how we do it. That's how we do it. We make sure everything is taken care of." Now, Peaches McIntyre was way in the front. She didn't speak to me. She didn't acknowledge me. I didn't say anything to her. Now, in real life, I would walk up to her. I had just looked online, and she was doing some meet with Peach, something like that, she was saying. And I would have walked up to her and say, "Girl, now you know I've been trying to get up with you. Why you ain't responding?" And she could be responding, but my phone is cloned. So people who are cloning my phone, they handle business like it's me. So they steal my opportunities. Let's say Peach said, "Hey, yeah, call me and we'll link up." They will call her and link up and pretend to be me. So I don't get my opportunities right now. Okay. And before that, I was listening to Mommy Wata. She was saying that your copycat had a BBL, and her BBL is leaking and, well, seething. It's infected. And she didn't say me personally. It's your copycat is part of the title. And if you resonate with it, then you think it's your copycat. And they are going around the city pretending to be you, trying to remove you from the internet so that they can plug this copycat in as you. So I made a short that said, if anybody is pretending to be Aileen Dorothea Atkins, have them smile, because I only have one tooth at the top of my mouth. And so I was going to put LOL and just start laughing. But I didn't. I left it serious. So I did all of that before I drifted back to sleep, listening to Mommy Wata. And so back to the dream. I saw Peach McIntyre and her family leaving Robles Park Projects. I did a thumbs up to the young preteen young boy who picked up the stuff that he was dropping as they moved out, and then ended up talking to Love Pearl Hawkins. And I said, you should go to the projects. A lot of women, when they have their baby, they want help. They need help. So you ask them, hey, can I cook and do a little cleaning for you in exchange for room and board until I can get myself on my feet? And whatever she said back to me was like a negative response, like she was not okay with trying to do that. So I said, oh, okay, well, all right then. Well, you take care. And I left her. I was walking up to the store at 34th and East Hillsboro, and I had a container, maybe like a Tang powder container. I done used all the Tang out of it, and now it's holding my, loose change. So I poured some loose change in my hand to go into the store to get 2 for $1 chips. I knew I was going to get a bag of Lay's, and I was debating on the second bag of chips. And then I talked myself out of buying the Lay's because, my waistline is getting kind of wide and big around here. From all the poisoning, my liver is probably still a little bit sluggish, but I'm so thankful to be alive that I'm not really being too hard on myself. But I still try to watch how much bread I take into my system, and that includes pasta and spaghetti and macaroni and cheese, because all of that is, bread. So I talked myself out of going into the store and buying the pasta. And I kept walking, and I ended up, it's like my feet were on automatic. And they walked into this church. And I could tell it was an AME Bible study. I grew up in the AME church. Come on, Mama. Come on. Come on. You're not coming up? Come on. Come on. Did this? I think he did. That's crazy. Okay, so I walk into the church and I sit down. I notice that one of the men that's in the church is Reverend Lonnie Gray. So I said, oh, So I got up to leave. They had on white, like, suits, a combination of white and red. Most of them had on white and then red shoes. And so as I'm walking down the hallway to leave, there is an elderly black man coming in. His hair is all white, and he used his cane and tried to trip me. Like, yeah, get out of here. We don't want your kind in here. Now, I was assuming my kind meant women, but now that I'm thinking, it could have meant my kind as in spiritualists, people who believe beyond what the Christian Bible teaches or beyond what the Christian church teaches, because I think what I believe in is actually in the Bible. It's just the book of Enoch is missing, and there's other missing books, but I think if the book returns back to being a complete entity, a complete production, a complete book, that the things that I say are a part of that. God told me that he was going to help me show people how the tarot cards are a part of the Bible and how they play into the story of the Bible. And he hasn't revealed that to me yet, so people are still very in a energy of taboo. They still think that tarot cards are black magic and it's evil. So that's still the position of the Christian church. God told me that a New Testament was coming, and I know that's hard for people to believe. They call me crazy and all of that, but think about it. Before there was a New Testament, it was only the Old Testament. So, of course, when the New Testament came, and the New Testament is like the opposite of the Old Testament, you're going from an eye for an eye to forgive your brethren. You're going from, if you didn't bring your own oil, that's your business. You know, with the bridesmaids, they went out and some of the bridesmaids took extra oil. Some of the bridesmaids did not take extra oil. And once it got dark and they needed the oil, they tried to borrow oil from the bridesmaids who brought oil. And they were like, no, I need this in order to see through my journey and get through. Now, they could have said, I'm not giving you my oil, but, you can walk with me and you can be in the light, standing next to me and we can both make it. And so that would be the New Testament philosophy, right? Eye for an eye. And then Jesus comes along. He sacrifices himself. There's no longer any need to, present a living sacrifice to the priest to be slaughtered. There's no more slaughtering of animals. No more goats have to die. No more lambs. No more sheep. No more nothing has to die because Jesus Christ comes and gives himself as the last final offering. So I believe that is what concludes the Old Testament. Let me see. The Old Testament from the New Testament. And I'm not sure how it works, but in my mind, that's what concludes Old Testament thinking and brings about the significance of the New Testament with the new philosophy that Jesus Christ sacrificed for you. He was God's only son. He gave his life so that we no longer have to take sacrifices to the priest so that we can be reconciled back into the church and back into the good graces of God. No more blood has to be shed. And then the New Testament philosophy brings on the notion of if you have two coats and your brother needs a coat, share with him. If your brother offends you, he should pluck out his eye. It's like this consideration for other people. So God said this age of Aquarian is bringing a new Testament, which is going to be like a melting pot philosophy where all religions pretty much are going to be seen as having value, seen as being justified and righteous. Now, why am I thinking about Rosicrucians and Luciferians and the Church of Satan? I don't know why that's cropping up in my head, but it is. I'm not God. I say what I think God is telling me to say, and that's where my intelligence comes in. I no longer try to be smart. I no longer try to be erudite on my own merit. I say, God, is this something you want me to say? Is it safe to say this? Should I say this now? If I get that God is telling me yes, I just say it. And so I no longer have to worry about going and getting more degrees and trying to prove how smart I am. I'm smart enough to listen to God, and that's where my brilliance comes in. So back to this dream. The old man tried to trip me, and I thought, okay, well, this must be, he must be a homosexual and he doesn't want me in that meeting. Maybe there's somebody in that meeting that's his boyfriend. He don't want me in there trying to, catch their attention, or he just is intolerant to the female persuasion. And so I kept walking out the door. When I got out the door, there was a turtle on my right hand side in, like in between the little space of the building. and it stuck his head out and looked like it looked at me. So I said, wow, I think that's Lonnie's turtle. He must be homeless. And why wouldn't he leave the turtle like in the car, I guess is what I was thinking. So on the left hand side, there was just like a little puddle. Maybe it was a little itty bitty pond. And I saw the smallest dinosaurs. I'm not dinosaur, hippopotamus, and a little baby turtle. Now I know hippopotamus are not this small, but if you can imagine a little baby turtle, there was a hippopotamus the same size as the baby turtle. So the little turtle was going over to get in the water. The hippopotamus was already in the water, the baby hippo, the mini baby hippo. And so when I turned back around, I didn't see the turtle or the hippo. So I hit the water to try to see where they were and to see what was going on. So the itty bitty baby hippo emerged with the little turtle in his mouth. So I bipped him on top of the head and made him let go of the baby turtle. And I was just standing there trying to realize what to do. And that's the end of the dream. I haven't tried to like analyze it or decode it. I haven't been sharing my dreams lately because, wait a minute, I'm missing parts of the dream. As I was walking towards the park, I saw that really large RV that seems to come to this community every now and then. I was several times, I was told that John Waldron and my sensei, who I share a child in common with him also, Clarence Joseph Washington Jr., was in there. Well, this time an old man was sitting in the passenger seat, and I could see him. Was that the guy that got put out of the axe housing? Yes, so there's an old man that I helped years ago get batteries and a charger for a wheelchair that he said the VA brought him, but they never did get it up and running. So God put it on my heart to make it all happen. Posey Batteries helped me. So thank you to David Posey of Posey Batteries. You all go and patronize his business. They really do great work. Donate to his ministry. They do have a ministry where they help people. So for this Christmas, you all donate to David Posey and the ministry that he does. You can Google Posey Batteries on YouTube. They moved from 40th Street down into Ybor City somewhere, 2nd Avenue, something like that. Hi, David. I know we have unfinished business, and I'll come take care of that as soon as I get some extra cash. You would not believe the time I am having. My family is pretty much taking everything I have and they're trying to keep it. So it's a real fiasco over here, but I'm alive and the children are alive and we're well. So I hope and pray your family's doing well too. Okay, so I can't remember where in the dream I saw that large RV. But for some reason, I was thinking John Waldron was in the RV. I didn't feel the energetic signature of Clarence Joseph Washington Jr., my sensei, being in there at all. And so the RV pulled out and kind of made a U-turn to go away from me, in the direction away from me. And is that the dream? That's the dream. Whenever I dream and I want to record it, I try to record it verbally because when I wake up, bits and pieces are leaving me. And so I've been praying and asking the Creator to help me keep the storyline long enough to get all the details recorded verbally. And then I can write it down and go back and analyze it. So I started thinking, what does that mean? I started thinking, is Lonnie trying to attract my daughter? Is he the hippo trying to attract or devour my daughter? You know, the young baby that the little turtle was in the hippo's mouth. And I should have paid closer attention to the turtle. Maybe the turtle was trying to ask me for help. Maybe I should have went and asked them if that was their turtle. If it wasn't, take taking them home and tried to figure out how to take care of a turtle and a baby turtle, or taking the whole lot. I could have put the little hippo in a separate place from the turtles until I could call maybe the endangered species rescue team and have them come and pick them up. I don't know. Now, in real life, what happened about a week ago, the dog was outside. I was walking the dog and he jumped out of the barricade where, should I be saying this? Yes. Okay. The barricade where we walk them so that we can make sure nobody poisons them, and then we can pick up the poop as well. And he was sniffing around, and when I got to the corner of the house, he had a cat in his mouth, you know, shaking the cat. And I was like, put the cat down. So I hit him on his butt, and he dropped the cat, and the cat ran away. Well, it took a couple of seconds, but I looked down on the side of the house, and there were two little baby kittens there. So I was like, oh Lord, I hope he didn't hurt the mom, where she's gonna go somewhere and bleed and die, and then these two little kittens are here. So I picked the kittens up, and I was bringing the kittens into the house to give them to Abby and Angola so they could nurse the kittens until the mom came back. And then I started praying and saying, well, God, should I leave the cats out here? And I got yes. So I put the dog back in the house, and I took the kittens back out where they were and put them back down so their mom could get them. Then I got concerned that my hands, me being a human, picking the kittens up without gloves, the mom might reject the children. But I put them back down anyway. Then I put a banana box with a blanket in it and turned it to the side so that they could get in it, because it was just starting to get cold in October here. And I just kept putting food in a bucket outside. And the bucket was big enough for her to put the kittens in and for her to snuggle up in too. So I would go out there and the food would be missing. Now we have raccoons, we have opossums, and we have rats, and we have squirrels. So I don't know who ate it, but I was hoping and praying that it was the mother cat returning and eating the food. And there was a little bucket of water out there. And I was drawn to the backyard again, just trying to check for the cats. And before I could even get to the backyard, I heard yip, 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 yip. So now there's just one cat. So I figured maybe the other cat is hiding under the brush. So I start moving the brush and trying to find the other little kitten, but the other little kitten wasn't there. The mama cat wasn't there. And so I said, this cat is asking for help. So he probably has not eaten in the couple of days that I've been putting food back here. And the mom has not returned, or she came back. And because she was hurting, she took the strongest cat with her and left the runt. And I perceived that to be the reality. And I told the girls, we have to nurse this cat back to health. And we debated on whether we should put a dog cage outside and cover it with a blanket and put the cat in there and just keep feeding it. And we determined that it was best to bring the cat in the house and nurse it back to health. That mom was probably not coming back. And so we are nursing that little kitten back to health. We went to Walmart and the lines are very long. If you are paying with cash, it's almost like you get penalized. You can't go through the self-checkout. You have to stand in line, and it's a long line. So my little trick is go to electronics, buy some earbuds so that you can check out in electronics, or go to the pharmacy and buy something. So I grabbed a bottle of $1 peroxide just so that we could check out in pharmacy. Where the black girl working back there said, no, you got to be getting something from back here, a prescription. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm reacting because it's going to take an hour to get through that line, and I'm just not willing. So a Caucasian guy walks up and he's getting a prescription. I said, hi, if I give you the $13, would you please pay for this cat milk, cat replacement formula and baby bottle? He, looked skeptical. I laid the money on the counter and he did it for me. And he said, I'll walk out with her. She doesn't have a receipt. I was going to ask the lady to print a duplicate receipt, but I just went along with his plan. But him saying that triggered something. Like maybe 4 days earlier, I was at the Walmart by the University of South Florida asking people to help me buy a chicken. It was right before the storm, so we were getting noodles, chicken, and I had lard and a couple of onions. And the two people that helped me, they said, we're from the hospital, we're going back over. Because I asked them, why did you help me? I asked a lot of people, and they said yes, and they paid for everything. So I said, can you please walk out with me, because I don't have a receipt and I don't want trouble. The energy over there is like you could end up in jail if you are walking out without a receipt. And me, I look a little bit, like I'm maybe on the brink of homelessness. And so I try to take into consideration that information. So after they get me out of the door with the receipt, I said, well, can I give you my number? And if you have any other fits of, benevolence and you want to help somebody, you can help me and my girls. And they were like, no, just, we wanted to do that for you. I said, okay, well, may your blessings return 100-fold. And I was getting ready to go back to the University Area Transfer Center to connect up with Angola and catch the bus. And a sheriff SUV passed by me real quick like. And I felt like he's going to give me a hard time because I don't have a receipt. I got this Walmart bag and he is coming after me. I don't know why I felt that, but I went with the feeling. I said, God, what should I do? And my feet started carrying me over towards Aldi's. I said, I'm going to go to Aldi's and get myself some almond breeze, some chocolate flavored almond milk, not almond breeze. And I looked over in the Aldi's parking lot. I didn't see cars. So I said, man, they're closed. So then I looked over to Target because there's a Target, but it's way on the other side. And then the Dollar Tree is on the same end of the plaza that the Target and Dollar Tree are over there together with America's Best Eyeglass Place. I didn't feel like making the walk, so I said, I'm just going to sit right here and catch this bus. So I sat down at the bus stop. This guy got out of a car and came over there talking about, can I hold your hand? I said, no. And he's like, oh, well, we need to support each other. And he was African American, black, right? And he's telling me I need to be more supportive. I'm not going to let you hold my hand. He wanted my receiving hand so he could probably siphon energy from me. I want you to know this man reached out and touched my shoulder. I said, well, I told you I didn't want to hold your hand, and then you touched me on my shoulder anyway. You need to respect people's boundaries. We need to help each other. And he went into all of that. So I jumped up, checked the street. I ran across the street. He said, man, you a bird, you a bird. And so I started pretending like I was a bird, flapping my wings and saying, buck, buck. And I got on across the street. The bus was getting ready to come, so I was waving the bus down and trying to make it over to the bus stop, which is outside of Salem's gyro place. And the bus went right past me. I was like, why would he do that? Why would the bus driver? He just left the University Area Transfer Center. Well, he could have been full. The bus could have been full because many people, no, it wasn't that many people there. So he was just being nasty. And it must have been a he because I'm saying he. So then I stood out by the street and I kept waving. It was the day the storm was getting ready to come. So Heartline was on emergency detail. So they'll pick you up almost anywhere. So I get picked up by one of those little short Heartline buses. She said, I'm going straight down to Marion Transfer Center, no stops. I said, that's where I'm headed. So she stopped for other people along the way, and nobody wanted to get on because they needed to be stopped somewhere other than the Marion Transfer Center. And when we got to the plaza right at Fletcher in Florida, a guy was getting on the bus, and she said, I'm only going to the Marion Transfer Center. I'm not stopping anywhere. And he said, yeah, okay. And then he said, wait a minute, you're not stopping anywhere? She said, no. He got off. So we were laughing about him because, like, she said, you see how people be lying? And he might not have understood, but we laughed about it. And she just kept going down, kept going down. And before Hillsborough, she said, do you know this route? Does this route go all the way down? It's telling me to turn on Violet Street. And for some reason, Violet Street struck me as interesting. And I said, Violet Street, Violet Street. So I'm going back through my memory. I'm like, wait a minute. I used to take Miss Helen to Violet Street. I used to take Angela to Violet Street. So on Violet Street, there is a psychiatry place that people go to see a psychiatrist and get their medicine. And it took me a couple of minutes maybe. I said, oh, wait a minute. Years ago, I used to take Angela and her mom there. That's where the crazy people go see the doctor. And I said, if you're doing anything other than going straight to the Marion Transfer Center, you let me out here at Hillsborough and Florida. She let me out there. And I tried to go buy a lighter in the 7-Eleven. Is that 7-Eleven on the corner of right by that Dutch hotel? Dutch Inn Hotel. So they said, no, we're closed. I said, I need a lighter really bad because, you know, it's hurricane. The churches aren't open. We have to fend for ourselves as far as food. So we didn't have any lighters. We needed a lighter to make fire so that we could cook, you know, open some cans of beans and warm them up. She said no. So I just walked out, got on the bus, and continued my journey. So I got to the Marion Transfer Center and called Gogo and told her to come on. I said, for some reason, I felt like that sheriff officer was going to try to arrest me for asking people to buy me food. I don't know why I felt that, but I said, you know, God's word trumps man's law. The word of God says you have not because you ask not. And we needed to make sure we had food, and we all love eating these ramen noodles. And we add different things to our ramen noodles to make it be, you know, a meal. Sometimes I add black beans and onions. Sometimes the girls like to add green beans and cooked onions. If they're not cooked, they don't want them. But I cook their onions, and then I add just like a tablespoon of lard to give it that greasy feeling. Abby doesn't like the grease, so I don't add lard to hers. And I guess that's the end of the talk, the end of the dream. I'll ask God what it means. Today is the 20th of October. It's a Sunday. It's 9:01 a.m. right now. And I had planned to go to the Portico Cafe, and God said no, that there's still great danger in the atmosphere. People are being carted off to jail for the identity theft and the fraud and the gang stalking that they've been doing to me. So there's a lot of people that want to blame me for their actions, and I should stay out of harm's way. So that's what I'm doing, staying out of harm's way. Godspeed.